This is Smithy.tv.
Hi, this is Kenny Robinson. You're listening to the show with no name. Woo woo, wah wah wah. Anyway, today we're just bouncing off the walls because I have a special guest in the studio here, Scott Thompson. Yes, that dude. The dude from Kids in the Hall fame, but the man has done so much more than just Kids in the Hall. That's like talking about somebody after they left the Beatles, you know? Well, unless you're Ringo, then you have to keep talking about the Beatles, but not when you've got the career that this man has had since then and gonna have. So thank you, Scott, for coming in.
Thank you, Kenny.
And it's been a real blast chatting with you every time. Like we did a movie a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that was fun.
And there's a whole side to you that the entire world doesn't get to see too often,
What is
and
that?
I love it. Well, you're
Pro corporal punishment side.
well, you're outspoken as a son of a gun, and
I am.
and you lean a little bit to the right. You
Well,
know?
I think I lean. I think I consider myself more of a libertarian,
Okay.
but I think that I'm assumed that I'm hard left because I think people just assume that all gay people are left, super
That's
left.
like when I see black Republicans,
Yeah.
I go, what they do to that boy?
Yeah, but I don't think. From my mind, I think the left and the right have gotten very close to each other. I think the hard left now is as bad as the hard right.
Yeah, definitely.
They're the ones that are the hard left are the ones that are. They're the ones that are doing the war on freedom of speech.
Absolutely.
And that's why, as a comic,
Absolutely.
that's what I feel very betrayed in a way, because I considered myself a pretty left guy. But the way that they are attacking speech
Yep.
now is really upsetting. And I look at the right and I go, they believe in freedom more. And that's disturbing.
Because I remember when the whole political correctness
Yeah.
thing came up with, I said that the left is far less tolerant than the right.
Far less.
Because the minute you don't follow the party line of
Yeah.
the left, they want to shoot you in the back of the
Yeah.
head, OKGB style.
Yep.
Whereas the right, they're like, well, let him say his piece, then we'll hang him. You know, so it was definitely the right does seem more in line with freedom of speech.
Yeah, and in Canada, which is a more
We have hate speech. So.
Yeah, we have laws against that. Like the states, for all of its sins and problems, they do believe in outright freedom of speech.
Yep.
But here in Canada, we have laws. You can't malign certain people. You can't say certain things. There's hate speech laws. I don't agree with any of those things. I really believe in a free conversation.
Yep.
And I'd rather have it out. I want to know what people are really thinking. I don't want it to be, swelter underground and like, you know how when things are buried, they get, more toxic.
The roots have time to grow.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You know, mushrooms grow best where it's dark and moldy.
Yeah, and like and fires that smolder underground for years and years, when they
Yeah.
erupt, they're huge. And I just believe in really just aerating the ground all the time.
Well, that's what they do every day in the Toronto Sun and all the Sun papers across Canada. I'm on the internet way too long every day, and I tend to bump into like the Toronto. Well, I shouldn't just say the Toronto Sun because you get all the Suns have the same basically followers.
Right.
But especially with their political issues.
Right.
You know, like the Stephen Harper and the new anti-terrorism bill.
Right.
And so you'll read the Sun's articles, and then the comments that follow, sometimes it just makes you creepy that, are these the people that we think are Canadians? And you go, no, these are Canadians. And if you've ever been a victim of any kind of racist or homophobia or sexism, they're there. It's
Yeah.
the rest of the people that never get swatted
That's right.
that they're shocked and horrified to learn this happens.
Yes, absolutely.
So the one thing I'm having so much fun with reading about these days is the whole thing with the citizenship and with the Nijab,
Mm-hmm.
and I read all these things, obey our laws or go back to where you're from.
And what do you feel about that, about the face veil, about the niqab?
Well, I do believe that, that if they need it for security purposes, so they just cannot get on a
No, of
plane
course
and not
not.
show it to somebody.
No.
But that's why we have women officers.
Yeah, I agree.
Or maybe we just need to have a whole squad of Muslims that just go in there and they, but.
Like, I mean, I find the veil, it upsets me. I don't like it. I do think it's a reflection of anti-female beliefs. But if she wants to wear that, I'm not
Here
going
we're
to tell
told
her.
they have a choice to wear it
That's
if they
right.
do, if they don't.
Like, I just go, I wouldn't. I'm uncomfortable with it. if you want to be a Canadian, I think you got to show it before to the officials.
Yeah.
But if you want to wear that, I really don't care. I really don't care because I think that woman is such a rarity. She's gonna be. She'll be bred out. Does that make sense? Like her children aren't going to be like that.
Well, maybe.
Maybe not. I hope.
A couple of years ago, there was the father that killed both of his daughters here in Toronto because they wouldn't wear their scarves.
Yes.
And I use that as an example when I told my kids, look, it's cold out, wear a toque and mitts. You've seen what happened to that girl that didn't wear a scarf the other day. Now, you want that to happen to you? And of course, I can't even repeat that joke on stage now or I'd be chased out of town with a train.
Yeah, you would. The Facebook Brigade with their torches.
Oh, it's incredible.
It is incredible. But I don't know. I just think, let her do it. Because I remember when I was a kid growing up in Brampton, the Portuguese women, when they lost their husbands, or they would dress in black.
Oh.
And that was the way it was done.
And the Italians and even Johnny Cash would say, lighten up.
Yeah, and they would wear the scarves and all that. You never see that anymore. But that was something that people just assumed would always be the way it was.
Yeah.
And so you think about like a young Portuguese kid today going, what? They did what? I really think that's what will happen in Canada with Muslims.
What,
and
20
the
years,
scarf.
30 years, 50 years?
Yeah. Maybe,
Down the road, sure.
Maybe a bit longer.
Or maybe we'll all start having to wear them scarves.
Well,
maybe we're going to get Shia law.
That's what the Sun thinks. But, I don't think so.
They can't even decide if we're going to have photo radar again. I don't think how we're going to change our system of law.
Yeah, I think it will just gradually disappear. I hope so. Because I do find it uncomfortable when I see a woman who's covered her face. I just can't remotely understand it.
Well, I guess it's all about for her safety or protection or.
But
that goes back to their theory that that's blaming the victim.
Well, exactly. In that we live in a world that men are so out of control that they see a woman's face, they just can't help but attack her. It's stupid. Men should just have to take control a little more.
Well, that ain't gonna happen anytime soon.
No, that's
I think
not.
the veils will disappear before men taking responsibility for their actions will ever happen.
That's never going to happen.
So she was asking for it. Well, that's one good thing. Like every time you hear these conservatives go, "Well, that woman was raped. Well, look how she was dressed. She was asking for it." This is just the far opposite of this one, then, isn't it? With the veil and all that, I think it just totally takes it to the other end,
But do you think it's so in a way that it is? Don't you feel like it is kind of saying to the world that they're in, like, I'm spitting on your society? Because if you walked around Saudi Arabia in a Speedo, aren't you kind of saying I don't respect?
Speedo should be sent to that stadium where they behead you.
But
I've been to Wasaga Beach one time too many and seen too many Speedos for one lifetime. So thank God somebody's willing to put an end to it.
But you know what I mean. I mean, it does show a little lack of respect. I do believe that. Like I wouldn't walk around Egypt in a Speedo. I wouldn't.
And you've traveled to these countries.
I do. I went to Egypt a couple years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
I loved it. I mean, it was fascinating. I wanted to see a country. I wanted to see a country in the middle of a revolution. I find that sexier.
Gee,
the men are really angry, and that turns me on.
And I thought just the divorce and a breakup of the family unit was stressful enough, huh?
No.
Anyway, we've run out of time for this topic. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Scott Thompson. What are you doing now?
I'm doing, Hannibal.
Hannibal?
Yeah, and Kids in the Hall are going on tour at the end of April for 6 weeks.
Okay.
And
there's a lot of excitement about that. I was
there
on
is.
Facebook. I have some women friends saying they would do anything to see Kids in the Hall, and I write anything. And then, of course, they have to go beyond reason. Otherwise, I thought I was going to get a bunch of nudies. Then I was going to hit you up for some comps between here and Red Deer. But so that's great. Anything with film or TV again you're looking at?
I'm pitching stuff all the time. Not right now.
Do you guys can still get the kids? They still get the meetings with CBC if they wanted to, or
I guess we would. But Canadian television is, I don't know. It's rough.
Yeah.
I just feel I've sort of given up on it. I guess. I just don't. I feel like, it's just not going to happen. I'm doing stand up now, and I want to do a tour this summer, and I want to do a special. That's what I want to do.
Okay.
That's my goal.
Okay, and I'd love to see you come out and just be a fucking animal with it, man.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do because
Yeah.
I respect it too much, and I these last few years I've just wanted to get really good at it before I put it down.
Yeah.
Because I respect it as an art form so much, and I didn't want to be one of those guys that said, "Hey, I can do stand up now." No, it's taken me a number of years.
And it is the Alamo of freedom of speech.
Absolutely, it is.
You know, you'll survive and wave the flag, or you'll die and forever.
Yeah, and I mean,
forevermore.
before, like, I used to have Buddy Cole. He would be my stand-up voice, etc. But the world's different. I can be myself, and so I find it very liberating and such an exciting thing to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Okay, well, we're looking for great things coming back from you. And Hannibal, why were you doing the Murdoch Mysteries for a while?
No, never, no.
Why did I think that was one of your
I don't
credits?
know.
You know, because I watch so little TV that isn't CNN, so I just, you know. But anyway, thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
We're gonna do a couple more segments here. So the people that have been listening to this, have been enjoying this, don't go anywhere because we got some more mess coming up. This is Kenny Robinson with, we're still gonna call it Breaking Down the News until I get a much better title.